What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate tips, trends, and news. Once again, Josh from OfferVault, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. We do not have Adam and Harrison today because we are doing the recording at a very unusual time. It's 9 p.m. by me, and it's 9 a.m. by our special guest, Lawrence Tope in Taiwan, marketing director at AdTiger, a company that provides digital marketing solutions for enterprises to meet their needs for brand promotion, customer acquisition, and cash flow at home and abroad. Lawrence, I know you typically go by Law, but I wanted to give you the proper introduction. And by the way, is it Tope? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, it's
All
perfect.
right.
So,
So, Law in Taiwan, what's up, dude? What are you doing in Taiwan? Are you there like permanently? Have you always lived there? Or are you just there as of recent?
so actually, I moved here in 2019. By the way, Josh, thank you for having me and OfferVault for having me for the podcast. A pleasure. But yeah, I moved here in 2019 because during that time, I had a business partner. We were creating a Kickstarter for a watch called Era Timepieces. So it was a luxury watch, and then we set up office here, and we were doing a lot of e-commerce. And then the pandemic happened, and I got stuck here because I was only supposed to stay here for like 2 years and set the office up. But then, I enjoyed it so much, and then the pandemic happened. I got stuck, so I ended up staying longer than I expected.
Where you
Uh,
where are you from originally?
So I'm actually from New York. I grew up there. I started my company there. Used to work in Wall Street with Merrill Lynch. Decided, after 4 years, F this. I was making my portfolio managers too much money. I'm like, and I remember one day when we brought in a client, which was a multi-million-dollar client, and you know how he repaid us with a pizza party, which was already half eaten.
Nice, dude.
I know, right?
I want to ask you about this. This wasn't on the agenda, but I'm super interested. What was the Wall Street experience like? I mean, I'm sure it was a grind,
Yeah.
hence why you ended up making a change. But I guess like, what was your biggest takeaway in terms of just the overall experience? Maybe something you didn't expect going into it that kind of hit you like a ton of bricks when you actually got there.
Yeah. So the good thing was just the work ethics. They really grind a lot over there. So actually, it was very interesting. I got the job when the recession happened in 2008, when Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers crashed and everything. So I just got lucky to get a job with the in finance because that was my major, finance and mathematics. And the office was in one Broadway street. So basically the same building that the Wolf of Wall Street was in. And yeah, the biggest takeaway was just the work ethic. That's why they do a lot of miracle powder, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, getting right into it.
So
Did
like
It's
in
okay.
the
This is
morning,
not a PG
miracle.
podcast, so you're all good to talk about whatever you want here.
So in the morning they start off with that miracle powder, and then after work after 5 p.m. it's the happy hour. So it was a constant crazy life cycle.
Would you
Yeah.
say it was like the epitome of the work hard, play hard mentality?
Yeah, it was. So luckily I didn't, I'm not really a big substance guy, but I do drink. So for me, the after work happy hour thing was a huge deal because I get to connect with, coworkers and network. Um, but yeah, it did teach me a lot of work ethic because they hustle hard. Like what you saw in the movie Wolf of Wall Street was accurate, but it's actually a little bit more intense than that. There's other hidden things that wasn't said in the movie that I experienced, after hours clubs where you meet a lot of high net worth people, all those things. Yeah, it gets very intense. So I learned the 4 years I was there, I learned how to, um, talk, network, and just learn about the hard work ethics and the hustlers of Wall Street and New York in general. Yeah,
I ask you this as a guy who also lived in New York for a short period of time, but do you miss the New York lifestyle at all?
I do actually. One of the biggest things, I mean, as a real New Yorker, you love it and you hate it. It's like a 50-50 thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I love it, but I fucking hate it at the same time. What
It's
I miss is
just
the,
it's
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
nonstop. No, no, I was just gonna say it's nonstop.
Exactly. So I would meet somebody if I go out in a party in Bushwick or in, Williamsburg in Brooklyn. You have somebody that looks like a hobo, but his net worth is probably way more than yours. You know what I mean? And just like the people there, they're very interesting. There's so much culture. It's a melting pot, and that's what I miss. It's a hustle and bustle. So when I go and I'm living in Taipei right now. It's so relaxed. And that's one of the biggest things that's, I think it's a con here is just wait. The life is amazing. Great. Everything. Healthcare, super safe, super cheap, advanced now, high tech, because where NVIDIA, TSMC is at. So very amazing hidden nugget. But growing up in New York City, man, I miss the creativity. I miss the hustle and bustle. There's so much motivation, and you meet somebody on the street, you don't know who they are, but then you give them a few minutes of your time. Damn, they have a lot to say. So there's a lot of motivation and creativity out there, and that's what I miss. But it's a crazy city.
Yeah, speaking of creativity, this is something I was actually really looking forward myself to talking to you about. It's kind of this new endeavor that you were telling me about, which I guess you could sum up as futuristic agriculture. I'm
Right.
not even going to try to explain it. I'd rather you just kind of give us the bird's eye view, and then we can kind of maybe I can
Right.
chime in with some follow-up questions after. But why don't you just kind of tell us what it is, how it works, and like why you're super excited about it?
Yeah, so let me give you a brief history of the person that actually created the system. So it's a vertical hydroponic agriculture system. So basically, if the viewers that's tuning in, if you know hydroponic, it's quite popular right now. It's a system where you do water and you create agriculture indoors without, being outdoors in a greenhouse. And a lot of vertical systems say they are soilless. However, that's not really the case. They still use organic material like coconut husk, but they still use soil. So let's get back to the founder of who created the system. His name is Miki-san. So he's a Japanese guy from Osaka. So if you remember, like, do you know who Konami is? Konami, the Japanese company, gaming
It's
company,
yeah, yeah,
who
yeah.
made,
That's I was gonna say it sounds familiar, but yeah, that's exactly where I know it from.
so they were the publishers of the biggest game called Metal Gear Solid.
Right, right, yeah, yeah.
So Miki-san, back in the 80s, he created the LCD screen for, those Tiger or Mattel like handheld one game things. It's like the black and white ones.
Hmm.
Remember that? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah. So it was like the black and white LCD screens um, that has one game, and it was just like left, right, up, down, A, B buttons, and they contracted a license with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So and with Konami, so he was the one that created the LCD screens for that, which in turn, like Nintendo, was able to get some of that technology from. So he was the one that was pioneering and created the LCD screens back in the 80s and 90s for those handheld games. And he used to work for Konami for a long time until he retired 10 years ago. And then he was doing um, his hobby, doing indoors agriculture, vertical hydroponic, and he was using soil. But since he has a engineering degree for LED lights, he was able to create a patent to literally mimic the sun's light and energy to give the plants the correct amount of light to make it grow without soil. So there's only three components that he uses. It's water, CO2, because plants need CO2, and light. So that's why the greenhouse is very important for old school agriculture, is because they need that light, but they need to control the temperature, right? So if it's indoors, he's able to control the temperature. He's able to control the CO2 with tanks, and then he's able to control the water. And the vertical system is a real vertical system. So I would love to show you all these websites and all these other competitors that say that they're real vertical. But when you actually see it, it's not really vertical because they take a lot of space. I showed you, Josh, like a video before when we were, excuse me, when we
Yeah,
were
I'll
setting up.
see if I can, if it's okay with you, maybe
Yeah,
toss
you
like
can
a
show it.
image, like an image on the
Right.
screen in editing. We'll put it in later, but here it
I'll
is.
show
I
you
don't
as
know.
well
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is like this, is like when I say futuristic, because there's a lot of people saying it's like it's futuristic, but the most important thing is if you want to go interstellar, this is what NASA and SpaceX are looking for, is very thin, space efficient, meaning very tiny. Because when you're in a spaceship, you don't have much room to grow. Like, one of the competitors, I don't even want to say their name because they're irrelevant to us, but they have like the way their marketing is like they have huge like solar panels and huge um, uh, factories and all these things. It's like, no, that's not the future of agriculture. That's why we say it's the future, is because we can grow the same amount of agriculture, fruits and vegetables in a confined space. And not only that, it's less energy. So yeah,
So is that the
and
end goal for your, and well, what's the name of the company, of your company?
it's called Starberry System. So we
Starberry
just said
System.
Starberry System, yeah, like
Yeah.
the star,
Right, right.
because we're going interstellar, baby.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what's the big picture here? Is it to be able to produce agriculture in space? Is that like the main focus of the company?
So the main focus is a few things. It's basically, so when you're growing crops in agriculture, you need soil, and then you need like, bees, for example, for strawberries. That's why, because he started out with strawberries, right? So the original name was actually super berries, hence starberries, but we rebranded to starberries because the system is not just for fruits. You can grow wasabi, you can even grow an orchard as long as you have enough space to grow that big ass tree. So the end goal is basically healthy fruits. There's no insecticide, sprays.
Hmm.
Even if you use bees, so there's like another company that was funded by almost 100 million, in the Middle East by, UAE, and they have this little ecosystem in this little box, but they still need to use insects like bees or whatnot. Starberry Systems doesn't use any of that, because the most important thing is, I'm probably giving too much away, is just the components of figuring out how the sun works, you know, light. And that's the reason why it goes back, because Miki-san is already 75 years old. He's been doing this since the 80s. He knew he's a light engineer. That's why Konami, and they were
Yeah.
able to do all these things. And what you see right now in the LCD screens was he was one of the guys that founded that. So I am just the person, like, Steve Jobs is like, how can I showcase this to the world in a simple way, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
My last question is just how'd you meet Miki-san? Like, how'd you guys get put in touch? Because that seems like a pretty, not like a
yeah.
guy you bump into on the street kind of introduction.
So, 3 degrees of separation, right? So my ex-wife was Japanese for 8 years. We're divorced now. So when I was in New York, when I was working in Wall Street, I also had a side hustle throwing parties. And one of my friends, he's a Japanese guy. He's now in California, in San Francisco. He's doing Y Combinator, so he's doing big things as well too. So we were throwing parties, Japanese American parties, and his ex-girlfriend's brother, I showed him a great time in New York, right? So his name is Jin. He's also from Osaka. His dad is straight up businessman from Japan. He has multiple factories, real estate. So, the Japanese people don't mess around when it comes to business. And he remembered me because we hanged out when I was there. I showed him a good time. So now he's of that age, right? He's taking the role of his dad, being passed down. So they have multiple factories in Osaka. And Miki-san and Jin connected because they're from Osaka. Miki-san needed a factory because his technology, doing the real deal vertical system, he needed to grow space aside from his house. He retired already. So he's like, he met Jin, and hey, Jin is like, I have a factory because my dad is has multiple factories in Osaka, right? So they set up a factory for this new venture. And the Japanese, they are very, very detailed oriented. So the next few years, they figured out how to make it more advanced. So then when they made it more advanced, Jin was lacking on the marketing side because he could only speak Japanese. I can speak Japanese, but their reach was only in Japan. And he needed somebody that he can trust because there's a lot of Japanese companies that was going to their factories to visit to try to reverse engineer what they're doing, and he doesn't like that. So Miki-san doesn't care about making money. He cares about the legacy that he's made. Because what happened was when he was with Konami and everything, they just took advantage of his knowledge, and they made a shit ton of fucking like hundreds of millions of dollars on his behalf, and it's under the Konami name. And then he retired, so now his hobby was doing this, and then this was something that he really cared about. So he doesn't care about the money. So he talked to Jin. He's like, "Oh, I need somebody that has the same mentality as me," meaning Miki-san. And then he reached out to me because I also have that underdog mentality. I don't care about the money. I care about you know providing the real business. So that's why I've been in this industry for a long time. I'm gonna go to a real quick caveat. Like when I started after Wall Street, when I did affiliate marketing, I did a lot of adult dating, a lot of black hat stuff, a lot of but I felt like it wasn't the right way for me. So hence I shifted to 100% white hat. So I helped AdTiger to be the only agency, and we're the biggest agency in China to be publicly traded. So when we provide accounts, it's all 100% white hat. Anyways, let's go back to the
Yeah, no, you were talking about the the guy you showed a good time in New York. It got me thinking like, where
yeah.
did I meet Law? And I don't remember what we did or what show it was at, but it was a night out. I want to say it was maybe Bangkok, maybe my first trip to Bangkok. I remember looking at my
Talk
phone.
bang.
Yeah, I remember looking at my phone, seeing this new number, and the name was Law. And I was like, who the fuck is this? Obviously, we had been partying the night before, but yeah, I remember the first time I met you, you showed me a good time wherever the hell we were too. Um, so that's crazy, by the way. I hope that,
That's how. So sorry to cut you off.
no,
So you asked me just to get back into your question. So
yeah.
how did I meet Isan, right? So Jin, I showed him a good time, and then he remembered me, and then he looks at my Instagram and he's seeing I'm like, doing speeches and all these things. But when we party, right? I go a little bit crazy. And then he's like, "Hey, can you do a meeting with me and Miki-san?" And then we did 2 months of meetings on Zoom. And then I was like, I need to go to Japan and meet you and see the actual system. And I actually just went there a month and a half ago. And this is crazy. It's amazing. It's basically, I don't want to say too much because it's in the starting phase, but uh, he has a patent. He has the only patent in the world to have this technology, and you will see bigger things. So hopefully in another
We'll have
new
you back. We'll have you back on in a
yeah,
year or two, and you can be like,
the
this is
plan
what I
is
wanted to tell you.
time goes by very fast. In the next year or so, actually it took us like a year to get me on the podcast because you've been messaging me, and then when
Yeah,
I saw you in
we were like, how are we gonna
Budapest,
do this with this time zone thing? And I was like, you know
yeah.
what? I'm just gonna do it at 9 o'clock at night. I don't care anymore.
And then Josh, you just literally, I was just walking because I was hosting Budapest, right? No, sorry,
I,
Dubai or something. Were you in Dubai?
no,
Were you?
I saw you in Vegas like just a couple months
Oh
ago.
yeah, in Vegas.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, yo, let's make this happen. Like, we got to do this.
Yeah, I was walking around in Vegas and I was like, oh man, you look familiar. I was, oh fuck, it's Josh, OfferVault. Because we've been messaging each other. It was just
Yeah.
like in Telegram, it was just like you know, after a few days, it's like messages. But then it's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I'm
let's.
happy to have you here. Speaking of conferences and hosting and speaking, I know you've done a lot of that in the past. Tell us a little bit about this upcoming speech or speaking gig you have in Armenia. I believe it's focused around TikTok advertising. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but tell us a little bit about that. And then I do want to ask you a little bit about TikTok advertising specifically.
Right.
So what's going on in Armenia?
So I got asked with my friend, Eastern European friend. Um, they asked if I wanted to do a speech. I'm like, yeah, sure. And actually, my flight is in 10 hours.
Oh, wow. Busy day. All
I'm
right,
flying
cool.
out today. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm flying out today. I guess they just wanted somebody to, fill the stage. But if I agreed to do a talk, it's gonna be action packed. So um, Sebastian asked me to do a talk, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure, or visit it. I'm not sure because I'm handling a lot of projects, and then traveling to Armenia is a long travel from Taipei. So actually, my full transit is 32 hours. So I
Yeah,
have a
it's
15-hour
brutal.
layover in Doha,
Yeah,
Qatar.
that'll do it.
Yeah, so I have
I
to
had
do.
a 15-hour layover in like Shanghai once, and I was like, I'm never doing a 15-hour layover anywhere again, dude. It is so brutal.
It's like the worst. Like 15 hours is the worst times. You don't have 24 hours. You don't have time to
Dude,
relax.
you're like, all right, I'll read, I'll watch some Netflix, and then you do that for like 6 or 8 hours, and you're like, I still have 8 more hours. Like, what am I gonna do?
Bro,
Yeah.
what did you do? Sorry, what did you do for that 15 hours when you're in Shanghai, man?
Dude, it was overnight too. So like
I
it
know,
was like
the
from like
worst.
night to like midday. Like all the restaurants were closed. There was like nobody in the airport. I don't remember. I blacked out. It was crazy.
Yeah. So luckily, I think it was intentional because I checked the hotels. So they actually have a transit hotel. So I booked a transit hotel in Doha
Just pass
and
out.
to pass out and yeah, let it be. But the good thing is I told them I'm gonna go there earlier. So uh, the producers of the Yerevan event, they comped me for coming earlier. So what I'm doing there is to talk about TikTok. So just to let the viewers know, I am not a media buyer. I oversee things. We have a media buying team, and yeah, I it's doing huge numbers. So just to give you perspective on how crazy it is, just in Southeast Asia alone on TikTok, on e-commerce in 2025, right? In Q1, they did $3 billion USD in ad spend, and Q2 is $6 billion in ad spend.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
So,
It's
I mean, I was gonna follow up when it comes to like TikTok advertising, do you have any kind of insight or things that you
yeah.
see, methods, ways people are going about it that are kind of finding them consistent success or, just like things they might want to stay away from that you've seen people get burned on? Like, what's the right way to go about it?
So the right way to go about it is now, everyone has a very, it's kind of sucks because everyone has a very short attention span, right? So, okay, I'm going to give you very golden nuggets right now. The most important thing is basically create your page, right? Start to do your organic traffic, okay? But the way TikTok works is you need to do paid ads to boost your organic traffic. Okay. So I'm going to give you some numbers because I have like three screens here.
Yeah, I see
Um,
you looking all over the place. Yeah.
you can probably see on my
Yeah,
glass.
there's a little reflection. Yeah.
So if you are a successful TikToker, only 5% of your only five okay only 5% of new accounts can break through the cold start, meaning if and this is very bottom of the line, if you have a video that can do 5K views, right, you have a 5% chance to break through to the TikTok algorithm. That means if you have 5K or plus views or you go viral, you have only 5% chance of TikTok showcasing you to the news feed. What you want to do is to be showcased in the news feed. All right. So, what I'm saying is if you spend a little bit on paid advertising, you will increase your um, organic reach. It's like pay to play, basically. So if you have something, so there's a lot of people that's like, oh, YouTube is different from TikTok. If you have something that goes viral, it goes viral. With TikTok, if it goes viral, they suppress it in a way. And that's the thing. They don't really want me to talk about it, but fuck it, I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
Um, it's pay to play, literally, regardless of how much organic traffic you do, they want you to spend on paid traffic. Because if you um,
Like, what kind of
spend on,
budget are we talking about here? Like on a singular post? Like, do you have any kind of like rough number
not
that someone should
not
have
that,
going into it?
not that much, really, not that much. It really depends on what you want to do. Uh, I think the minimum is $20 a day, or you can space it out. But the thing is like, listen, AdTiger is a Beijing company from China. I'm New York. I'm American, so um, I always have conversations because it's like this is the Western style, but this is the Chinese style. Like then, you know, we gotta play fair game. So in TikTok, it's pay to play. It doesn't matter because they don't. Even if you have a lot of organic traffic, they don't pay you shit. It's not like YouTube. YouTube, if you have big reach, they pay you a shit ton of money based on your reach, right? TikTok right now is very strict, but what I'm trying to do because we're very connected with that is like listen, if you want more people to continue to do this, you need to pay them out if you want them to do paid traffic. But the thing is TikTok is so freaking huge, even though it's banned in India, just in the US itself, or in Europe or Asia, in Southeast Asia, it's so huge. Just in Southeast Asia, they make more money in Southeast Asia than US or Europe. They don't give a shit. Like, because they have so much money being made and so much traffic coming in. It's crazy. So it's a different tactic. So I'm trying to teach people this with the speech in, Armenia. Um, it's pay to play. Spend like a few hundred a month. Your organic traffic, it's coincides with your paid traffic versus Facebook. Organic traffic on Facebook or Meta and paid traffic on Meta is very different. Those two are very like separate. Same thing with YouTube or Google, because it is what it is. Yeah.
So you recently mentioned AdTiger just a second ago. I know one of the main things that you're excited about that AdTiger's doing right now is kind of its use with AI creatives. One of my questions to you before we started recording was like, what are some good prompts? And you're like, I'm not going to say that because like that's why we're AdTiger and that's why we're good at what we do. So I respect that. But is there anything you can tell us about the AI creative process? Like, should everybody be taking advantage of utilizing AI when it comes to creative? What's like the bigger picture for that whole segment of the industry and where AI is today?
AI is fucking crazy,
Dude,
bro.
I keep opening ChatGPT for everything now. I'm like, can it do this? And I'm like, can you give me the legal details for this entity? And they're like, yeah, here they are. And I was just like, oh, and then like that's like bottom level bullshit too, you know? Like I'm just like scratching the surface of it.
Yeah, bro. You remember Robin Williams Bicentennial Man?
Uh-huh.
And you remember Terminator 2,
Sure.
right? With Arnold Schwarzenegger. Bro, exactly. You just told me exactly what the future is. You open it up. AI is supposed to help us. And that's the thing. It's so crazy. A lot of the things that I'm doing right now, even with the agriculture stuff, you don't need to have somebody that's a Photoshop expert. AI can do it to you instantaneously. So it's scary and it's amazing at the same way.
Mm-hmm.
As a Since I was, grew up in New York, American, we're both American, right? We're capitalistic. So how can we increase our profits with less work, right? And this is it. However, the main caveat is how can we control this technology. Because as we've seen in the movies, if you can't control it, it goes wild, you know? Um, so for my vision with AI, it's amazing.
Dude, just wait till
And
Tesla comes out with that Optimus robot and they
that
get
bullshit
AI.
ass Optimus robot is horse shit.
You don't
It's
think
some
it'll work
bullshit.
with some AI integration?
Oh, because they're doing crazier things, with Boston.
Right, Boston Tech or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and then what, love or hate Elon Musk, he's a smart mind. I'm not gonna go political, but what he did with his horse shit, what the, you had somebody like literally like talking, like it was like a manning a drone, but it was a robot, and it was
Right,
like,
right, right,
meanwhile, in China, you have the same shit in Boston Robotics and all these things,
right.
right? With the dog, like, and then I would see, and this is interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go in another segue caveat with video games. So there's this YouTuber, I forgot his name. Fuck. Anyways, they were doing AI to, you know, uh, have NPCs in a video game to have AI knowledge. And the conversations they were have on a video game for like Elder Scrolls or Fallout, they were having real conversations with AI, right? Meanwhile, Elon Musk with his thing is like, you can't do that AI generated stuff, even though you founded OpenAI and then you got pissed off because you didn't like what they were doing. And then you do this AI stuff, and then the person that we're talking to is a person behind the scenes. So that kind of irked me a bit, you know.
So taking it back to the original question here, should everybody be using AI in some capacity when they're creating their creatives? Or can you still make can you still get the job done? I guess I mean it's a rhetorical question. Like you'll never be able to do it as good, right?
That's a good question. It's inevitable, right? It's inevitable. It's like, let me give you a very simple analogy. In the beginning of, car transmission, you have manual, right?
Right.
If I know how to drive manual, like, stick shift, first, second gear, and all these things, right? But the general public wants ease of use, hence auto transmission. And that's just how it is. Um,
Do you think graphic designers need to be like concerned about employability? Not anytime soon, but maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 years from now?
well, the way the world is changing is everyone wants now, 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 right? So it's not the fact that graphic designers are good or bad. It's because we have TikTok. Everyone has a very short attention span. You have DoorDash, you have Uber Eats. Everyone wants it
Amazon.
now. Amazon, yeah. They want it now, 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 now. The difference between a skilled artisan and AI, take a guess. What's the difference?
Speed.
There you go. Exactly. The speed of implementation is the reason why the graphic artists are losing their jobs. The speed of implementation. Fiverr was amazing because before AI, a few years ago, Fiverr is like you can hire, graphic artists or whatnot. But this motherfuckers took forever, like a day or two. But with AI, you just give them a prompt, boom,
Well, isn't that crazy you say that though? It took him a day. Like a day
Yeah.
turnaround was probably incredible, like not that long ago, right? Like you're like, oh my God, you could do it in a day? That's fantastic. But now it's like you're gonna take a day? Like that's not acceptable.
Yeah. It's literally the speed of implementation. It's the same thing why um, that's the reason why technology happens, right? We want to go from point A to point B as quickly as possible. For example, during Magellan days, during when they're traveling, right, through boats, that took a lot of time and energy. And then when the Wright brothers figured out how to fly, you know what I'm saying? We can fly from A to B quickly.
Shout out
And then,
Ohio. What's up?
yeah,
Let's
I say,
go.
Ohio, let's go, baby.
Yeah, dude. We got the Wright brothers and the Rock and Roll Hall
Yeah.
of Fame and shitty sports. That's about it.
Ohio gets a lot of shit, but I love Ohio as well too.
I love Ohio too. Yeah. We're I'm in Cleveland. We're a good
You
kept
like hockey?
secret.
You like hockey?
Hockey is one of the few sport. I mean, I like it, but I don't follow it. I mean, the closest team to us is Columbus Blue Jackets, but I don't follow it religiously like the other sports that we have in Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah, so I played street hockey because I grew up in like the suburbs of New York in Rockland County, right? And it was very diverse, and we did a lot of street hockey because there's a cul-de-sac. So it was just like cul-de-sac is just a round street, and there's a bunch of houses, and yeah, man, it was crazy. We would just
It
yeah,
sounds like a great childhood. Yeah. Gotta love a good cul-de-sac.
yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's when it comes to AI, it's just a speed of implementation. People don't got time for your bullshit, you know. If you can churn out as quickly as AI, then yeah. And the thing is sometimes AI listens to you. The thing is like when it comes to creativity, it comes to the ego of the person that's creating the content, right? As an artist or as a developer, it's like I don't give a shit about your ego. Do what I think I need that I want. And AI does that without the middleman. And as and it's a
Oh,
hundred times percent.
and it's free for the most part.
So why do you think people are like, oh my job? No, brother. It's listen to what's happening. Either you get phased out or you figure it out. So as an artist, I suggest this to artists: be that person that creates the prompts to learn to control AI. So as if you are an artist, right? Stop crying about what's going on and AI taking your job. Figure out what is the future, what people want, and be that person that make that, right? So I figured out, I was like, hey, as an artist, I need to learn the prompts because you cannot make good AI creatives or videos unless you know the prompts. And as an artist, you're not you're not drawing anymore. You're the one creating the prompts. The artist is the one that's creating the prompts now. That's my take on it.
The last thing I want to ask you about before I let you get out of here and start your day while I shut mine down is your version of the entrepreneurial lifestyle. You already told us, about living in Taiwan briefly and how you love it, the pace, everything like that. I was actually going to ask you if the time difference is tough, but then I realized while you were talking just a second ago, like one company is based in Hong Kong, the other is based in uh, Japan, I guess. I don't know what the
Point.
exact, time difference is between those and Taiwan, but I'm sure it's not as much as it is with the US. So, like, are there any major challenges that you face living on that side of the world, or is it really just more like personal life related?
So for time differences, the hustle and bustle, I will always make time regardless. If I need to wake up early, if I need to stay up late, if I need, it doesn't matter to me because I have a lot of clients for AdTiger because we provide accounts as well too, right? So I have India, I have Lithuania, Vegas, California, Argentina, Uruguay,
So
literally
you,
all
yeah,
around
so
the
you
world.
got, so you're definitely dealing with it for sure.
Literally all around the world. But the thing is this, the most important thing is having a team. So I'm just lucky enough to have a team that's able to go 24/7. And then I'm just being honest with them, like, hey, we're based in Beijing and our team is based here and there. The ones that's going to respond to you will respond to you uh, once they're awake. So just having that honesty when it comes to responding to clients. Aside from that, um, money never sleeps, you know, but it's very important to have a good um, head on your shoulders and a good mix of life work balance.
Wow, look at you. You're the podcast host because that's exactly
Mm,
where we are going. I was going to ask you that next, and I'd love for you to tell us what that actually means to you. We get a lot of different answers when it comes to that question. So what is that, phrase or I forget what the saying is, but basically like, a trigger word or like how does that kind of what is the a good version of work life balance mean to you?
to be honest, I'm not perfect, right? um, my crutch is I don't take meds, but my crutch is drinking alcohol, right? Um, Not as much anymore, but that is my crutch. But it does hinder certain things in life, for example, my health. And also, mentality wise, even though there's so many things I've been doing, I still have the imposter syndrome mentality.
Yep.
Uh,
I feel like
I can,
it's
yeah.
just always there no matter what. I don't know, for me.
So it's very difficult for me sometimes to get rid of that. So I like to surround myself with like-minded people because, you know, even though you do so much, you are your own worst enemy. And that's what I'm struggling with. And I'm being real. It's, imposter syndrome. And because of that, I need a drink here and there to help. Because when I drink it, it's a downer, right? So it helps me calm down and all the things talking in my mind, it slows it down. It really slows it down. But sometimes I get carried away and then,
Bro, I know
some
about Carried Away. I've talked about it on the show before. I'm a recovering alcoholic, dude. So I totally, totally get it. Let's put it that way.
so I'm in Taiwan right now. So when I'm in the US, I smoke a shit ton of weed.
I was actually gonna ask, I forgot. You're kind of bringing it back full circle. How does the futuristic agriculture tie into the weed industry, or is there a path where I'm assuming there is? Like, yeah,
100%.
yeah,
But I'm dealing with a 75-year-old Japanese
yeah,
man.
yeah. It's probably not a priority. Yeah,
Step by step.
right.
So,
You're like, but the
100%.
weed, but the weed, you don't get it. Yeah.
So he's very in he's a cool dude. He's a really cool dude. He has a lot of interesting stories about it. So, um
So are you
I was
doing I was gonna say like to bring it back again, are you doing anything like mental health wise? Myself, like I go through phases where I'm like really into meditation and reading about Buddhism and self-help books. Like I really like that stuff. It kind of helps reset my mindset, at times when I need it. But it's hard to stay in those habitual patterns, if you will. So, is there anything that you do that you find really kind of helps keep you grounded, that you find yourself going back to on a regular basis? Keeps your mind
Right.
right?
So, I'm turning 40, right? So during the phase from going from working in Wall Street to creating a business and all these things, I created a system. And, sometimes you fall in the system. It's doing affirmations in the morning, you know, I am a good person, affirmations, I will be successful, all those things. Meditation is very, very important. However, after you fall, it's always up and downs. So affirmations, meditations, 100% important. Even if you do 5%, I mean, sorry, 5 minutes to 15 or 30 minutes, affirmations and meditation is important. If you fall off, I realize one of the biggest things when you start to drift away from your schedule, walking, just walking. Go outside the office, go outside the house, walk and listen to music. Because music and walking, because walking gets your blood flowing and listening to music gets your brain going. Because, for example, I realize this for people that have dementia, when they hear music, it brings back their,
Right. Yeah. Their
it
memories,
connects
like,
the neurons. Yes.
right. Yeah, exactly.
So my suggestion is, right, affirmations and meditation, very important. Working out, very important. But if you fall off your routine, everyone gets derailed in the routine. You're fucking lying to me if you say you're always 100% consistent. No one is 100% consistent. It's human nature. No way you can be 100% consistent. If you fall off your routine, the easiest way to get back into it, take a step back, know that you fucked up, and just walk for a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and listen to music because it will bring back the neurons together. It will bring you back to what you're meant to be. And that's my biggest suggestion because a lot of people's like, oh, yeah, just meditate, just exercise, do affirmations. No, motherfucker. You will
Well,
always fall.
do those things, and like, I don't think
If
those
you
things
fall
will
off,
hurt. Right, right.
yeah, but the thing is like, yeah, once you're situated, but then you will fall off. There's no
Yeah.
one that's not gonna fall off out of their routine. People are gonna experience these hardships in their life, and when you fall off, just walk and listen to music. That's my only suggestion, and then you will get back into that same routine.
Lastly, what are some of the big conferences coming up in the next 6 to 12 months where anyone watching this show might be able to find you on the trade show floor and walk up and say hi and tell you how much they love seeing you on the affiliate marketing show?
So one of the biggest ones is I'm very, everything I do is white hat. We're going to be at Affiliate Takeover. I've worked with Alex Mikol. He's the
Friend of the
CEO.
pod. Yeah, we've had him on the show before. He's a great dude. Love that guy.
Yeah, so you can ask him about me. He always vouches for me. So we have a booth there. I've known him for quite some time.
That's coming
Great
up,
guy.
right? In a month or
Yeah,
two?
in July. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
So he's doing great things because, like I said, he's doing everything white hat, all e-commerce. So that's all I'm about. So this is our first booth, and I'm 100% supporting him. Also, Affiliate World is going to be good, and
Do you still do the
um,
summits, everyone, or it just kind of depends on the
I
year
went
and how
to
busy you are?
Vegas.
Yeah.
It was a give and take, I guess, is because I haven't been there as much. But the people that did meet there, it was a great experience. So I have nothing bad to say. It's just that it was just different for me. Um, yeah, so I'm just trying to see more. Per, Perhaps To be honest, all of the events are good. It just depends on who you meet and the connections that you meet. So there's no reason for me to badmouth anything. Actually, all of the events are good. It just depends on who you meet and who you network with and who you make business with. So that's my take on it.
Well, if you see Law at Affiliate Takeover in Barcelona in July, make sure you go up to their booth and say what up. For myself, Josh from OfferVault, and our special guest, Lawrence Tope, Marketing Director at AdTiger. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.